Ah, yes, sentimental analysis. Low tech, of course. There's those Patriot and Denver t shirts there as we go through some of the 17 matchups, 16 matchups that Peyton Manning and Tom Brady have had. Number 17 tomorrow for the AFC Championship, and what will probably be the last time that they meet. Let's show some of the highlights of the first times that they met early in their career. A young Tom Brady against a young Peyton Manning. On NFL. Courtesy of NFL.com. They go through all 16 matchups. And let's just check out a few early in the career, and then we'll continue that. We'll call this a part one if you'd like. Not sure what we'll do here. I'm just trying to bring back some nice memories. Oh, and look at that. That's game one ever. The first time he ever met, 44-13. So it looks like Tom Brady was really slinging the ball around well that day. Well, no, but you should know how New England played back early in Tom's career. And look at the stats, 13 of 23, 168 yards. That is a typical Tom Brady day early in his career. Remember, 2001 is when the New England's going to go on to win Super Bowl 36 that year. Just weeks before that, Mr. Tom Brady was a no-name, and I mean literally a no-name. I was watching the day when Mo Lewis struck Drew Bledsoe a mighty blow. I mean, that was scary. And Tom Brady came in. I remember thinking, oh, here's some guy named, I wouldn't have even been able to tell you who the backup quarterback for New England was then. And New England wasn't expected to do anything much that year anyway. Here comes a guy named Tom Brady. Well, within weeks, he's beaten Peyton Manning 44-13. Yeah, a lot of it is the defense, obviously, because he only went, I'm pointing with the arrow, 13 of 23 for 168. Manning, this is a good way for him. This is a good way to demonstrate how Manning has struggled against New England early in his career. Right away, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Let's watch a few highlights. Courtesy of NFL.com. 2 pick sixes, it says here. 2 interceptions for touchdown. Otis Smith. Yeah, the former Jet, I believe. Isn't it for you? This is some pick six. I don't know why 73 didn't die for the legs. That's a touchdown. All right. That's worth a replay, is it? We'll wait on that one because it was such a nice return. Pick six. Oh, they're going to show it again? I didn't know they were going to show it again. Now, I don't mind showing that just to show you how fast Peyton Manning was early in his career. They have a couple of highlights here that I saw from these games showing how fast Peyton Manning was. But a needless stat here. I didn't set up to show the second pick six. But here we go. He called them to Bucky Jones. Of course, he corrected it to Ty Law. Introducing a man named Ty Law. Peyton Manning will get to know him well. And in the very first game that Peyton Manning faces New England, 2 pick sixes, including one by Ty Law. This was late in the game just to clinch it. We don't have to watch Peyton Manning throw a touchdown here. And now we move up to the second time they ever met. They met twice in the same season, October 21st, just weeks later after that 44-13. If you remember, it says here, they were in the same division. That was the only year that Brady and Manning were in the same division before they realigned, and they got to play twice then. Imagine if they were left them in the same division. They could have played twice every year. But we have another 38-17 win for New England. What's the stats here? Brady, 16 of 20. Again, not throwing much, but very efficient. He's a star already. Is he a star already? 2001 season, he's just coming in. He certainly did lead New England on a tremendous winning streak that was unexpected. We are moving on. We're not showing highlights from that one. Oh, wait, what was Manning's stats there? 196. No, I'm sorry. I went back to the original one. 1 touchdown, no interceptions. 335 yards. Much better. 38-17 New England win. Now, I don't know. They didn't meet. I know why they didn't meet in the 2002 season, because they're not in the same division. They don't have to meet automatically. It seems like they always schedule them together for the last who knows how many years. 38-34. Now, look what it says here. The Patriots jumped out 17-0 lead, led to a Manning fumble. Brady threw 2 second-half inches to let Colts back in the game, but in the end, Pats prevailed 38-34. Now, they're leaving out the key play of the game, and if you watch the highlights, they don't have it. Of course, the famous Willie McGinnis goal line stand play on 4th and 1. And if you do go back to the article which refers you to all this, it says Peyton Manning and Tom Brady's most biggest games. There they do have the McGinnis play, and they do have the highlight, but I'm not going to flip to that. It would take too much tech for me to do that. And we'll get to show that at one point. But this showed that Brady could actually also win in a shootout type game. That's what they were saying. That was the going thing being commented after the game. And Brady over there, 26 of 35, 236. He did throw a couple of interceptions, but a shootout in a game where both offenses were clicking, New England prevails. But this is one of my favorite games. Now, in my Is Peyton Manning a Choker, I call this a regular playoff game. I call it a divisional playoff game. I thought Manning had won one playoff game, and then this was the divisional playoff. This was the AFC Championship. He had beaten Denver, Peyton Manning. He had beaten KC, and now he's trying to march into New England and win an AFC Championship game, but through 4 interceptions. And again, welcome. He got to know a guy named Ty Law very well. Again, Brady, 237 yards. Now he's not in the 300, 400-yard range early in his career. They're winning mainly on defense. This game was not out of reach till the very end. It became a 2-score game at the end. As a matter of fact, let's watch a few highlights and you'll see. Let's get some highlights of this one. Did you see that fake on the wide receiver screen and throw? I'm telling you, New England was the first team to run that. You've seen others run that. But I think, right at that moment when I watched it, I said, wow, that's a nice devised play. That was nicely designed. The fake wide receiver screen, and then 87, who's not Gronkowski at that time. That's Gibbons for the touch. David Gibbons for the touchdown. One of Peyton. Look at them. You see that? That was his hands. He bruised. He gets all. The body language is not good in Peyton Manning. That's what they meant when I was talking about Peyton Manning's bad body language in my S.A.L.T Productions, talking about Peyton Manning early in his career and through his playoff career. And there's a safety as they get the weather causes a bad snap to the punter, and Hunter Smith just boots it out of the end zone for a safety. I think we've seen enough of that game. They don't show any of the other interceptions by Manning, so that's why I'm gonna hold it there. He threw 4 in the day, but I think that was the only one they showed. You'd get a better sense if they would have showed a few more. Especially, I'm telling you, Peyton Manning really goes off the field muttering and lost at certain points in that game. You'll have to take my word on that. Week 1 of the next year, after New England wins the Super Bowl 38. They meet in week 1 of the 2004 season, and it's a 27-24 victory. What they don't put here is that Vanderjagt misses a 47-yarder. It should have been closer field goal, but Peyton Manning took a bad sack by Willie McGinnis to make that field goal longer. And Vanderjagt, who had opened his mouth a lot, even the Colts guys were getting on their own, were not happy with things Vanderjagt was saying. Vanderjagt does not come through and misses to tie the game and send it to overtime. By the way, I said that I asked on my one of my previous sold productions, as I talked about, sentimentally talked about their 16 meetings. I said, did they ever go to overtime? I was thinking of that, and I forgot that in the 2013 season, just 2 years ago, not the championship game, that was won by Peyton Manning 26-16, and I have a sold production on that one. Check that out. But during the season, New England made a great comeback and sent it to overtime and won. That was an overtime. They did so. They had Manning and Brady have gone to overtime in their 16 times that they've met each other. But we get to my favorite game, and that is one of my favorites of all time. 2004. How much time have I used already? Oh, it's already over 10 minutes. 2004 championship game. Not championship game. This I called the championship game on one of my previous Salt productions. This was the divisional round game. After Manning scored 49 points against Denver, he now comes and says, "This is the year." Remember, he threw 49 touchdowns this year. This is the year that Manning's going to get Brady. Well, he didn't get him, 20-3. Now I did make some mistakes in that when I talked about it on my previous Salt. Is Manning a choker? Manning did get to the red zone early in the game and right near the end zone. Only to have to settle for a field goal. That was the only 3 points he got. But I definitely still tell you, I still am right about the fact that if you see 27 of 42, 238 yards, and one interception, you say, oh, not bad, not bad. I'm telling you, that was the worst performance ever by a guy of that caliber in such a situation as a playoff. Peyton Manning was horrendous that game. The 203, he got 70 of those yards in garbage time when it was 20-3, and promptly threw that interception was the final drive. He couldn't even score there with the prevent defense that New England was in. Again, Brady just 144 yards. He's only in the Super Bowl 36. He only had 140, 170 yards. Those are the typical stats of a Brady early in his career. They relied on his defense. I had a running game. They asked Brady to be efficient, not throw interceptions, be good. There were times when he did better, than there was more yards than that, obviously, but that's not atypical. That is a typical, that isn't a normal amount. Don't look and go, well, Brady must have had a bad game. They didn't ask Brady to do much for them in those days, as much as they do in later years. And 20-3 says how soundly they beat him. And that is our first part of showing going back and get some great memories of Manning, Brady. Obviously, I haven't shown you one yet where Manning's won. So Brady getting the better of it early in the career on his way to 3 Super Bowls. Part 1, Salt production, sentimental analysis. Low tech, some low tech there.